guess what? I have big news. I'm gonna give you a clue. Okay, clue number 1. Dun, 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 dun. Can you guess what it is? Okay, clue number 2. Yes, you've guessed it, folks. I got a car. I have manifested a car using my knowledge of the law of attraction and how it works. I have a 2020 vehicle. Please keep in mind, I have never in my life owned a newer than an 11-year-old vehicle. I have a 522 credit score. Needless to say, I didn't have very good credit. I've also only been in my job for less than 6 months and at my place of residence for less than 6 months. So check this out. I get my license back, right? I had my license suspended. Long story, we don't need to go there right now. But on the way back from the MVD, I was walking my happy butt down a hill, and I happened to pass a car dealership. And it wasn't like these little car dealerships that I had initially thought about that using, like, you know, like a buy here, pay here place. This was an actual, real, like, person with good credit, I would think, car dealership. So I'm walking by, and I say, I would like to manifest a car. I was all happy and excited because I just got my license back. It was in my hand with a little paper they give you. And so I decided to just stop in and take a look at some vehicles. I really thought that getting one would be well into my future, but I was like, the reason I think this happened so fast for me, the reason I know it did, is because I had let go all attachment to the outcome. I wasn't concerned with it. I was getting around just fine, using lifts, walking, at times riding a bike, different things that I've done to get around. And it's all well and good. I've been doing fine without a car. But I did find myself sitting there thinking about how nice it would be to be in a newer, dependable, nice vehicle with good air conditioning and just really something dependable that I didn't have to worry about. So I kept thinking to myself, like, I'd picture myself sitting in the driver's seat and, you know, putting on a great song on the radio and having it bump, picturing myself sitting there with my hand out the window, you know, just windsurfing along and having a good old time. And so I had this vision in my head. I held this in my mind off and on for like the last few months. And I knew it was in my future, but honestly, I thought I was going to just get first like the basis bare minimum car, just like a here and there to and fro car. And it ended up being so much more amazing than I can describe. So I go in, I have no intention of actually buying a car that day. I mean, that would be great, I thought, but I didn't actually think it would happen. I wasn't concerned about that, though. I really just went in to go test drive a vehicle, see what it's like to have, like, to be in a newer vehicle. And so I did, and the salesman, I'm telling him about my credit situation, telling him what's going on. We didn't get into how long I had been in my job or at my house at that time. But he said, why don't you just apply? It can't hurt. You know, I've seen people with bad credit get applied before, or get approved before. So I said, okay, what the heck? Let's do it. So I sit down with him and we're going through the questions and he's filling out the application for me. And one of the questions was, how long have you been at your place of employment? And I said, 6 months, even though that was a stretch even. It wasn't even 6 months. Close, but not exactly. And same thing with my place of residence. So he says to me at that point, uh-oh, that's going to be a problem. And I'm like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. We'll go through with the application, whatever. I told him I had been there 6 months approximately. It was really closer to like 3.5, 4 months. We finished the application. And I think to myself, oh, well, whatever, it's a good try. It'll make a ding on my credit or as an inquiry, but no big deal. So he said, okay, give it about 20 minutes to process and we'll see what happens. Well, he comes out with a big old smile on his face, like exactly 20 minutes later, and he says, do you want to see your new car? Excuse me? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you got approved. But only for this one car on the lot. You're only approved for one car. It has to be a car that's new enough to not be breaking down, that has low mileage. It's got to be a sedan, da-da-da-da. There was all these stipulations from the bank. But they said yes. And I also, not to mention, I had a low down payment. The lowest down payment you could possibly have to get a vehicle financed at that dealership. I'm just mind blown at this point. And I think to myself, wow, this is really something. This is amazing. I can't believe I come to the first place I go and I get approved. You know, how exciting. So I go and test drive the car and I like it and I decide, you know what, let's do it. I'm gonna sign my life away for this. Let's do this. So I go and sit in the financing office. After I wait a little while, I get longer, and they call me back in the financing office. And I sit down with the guy who's doing the financing, and he seems real nervous and like disheveled. He was doing a good job. He was real sweet, but he had said that I was his second deal he had ever done ever. Like he had just started there. And we get through everything. I'm signing all the paperwork, signing. And one of the last things he asked me before I walk out is, just to verify, you've been at your place of employment for 6 years, it looks like, and at your residence for 6 years, correct? I said, no. And I know, at that point I knew, well, okay, I can't say I knew. At that point I thought, the salesman totally did this because he wanted this sale, and so he fudged the numbers on purpose. Especially because he had said, that's going to be a problem. Don't tell me that he didn't do that on purpose, right? What do you guys think? He had to have. But regardless, I did the right thing. I told him basically the truth. I told him almost the truth. And so I told the guy that in the finance department. He's like, well, we've already secured the financing from one bank loan. However, we may not be able to get it with any other ones. I'm going to try to still run it through and see if I can get you a lower interest rate, yada, yada. He's like, and actually, I'm going to have to talk to my manager about this because it says in here that I need to call and verify your employment and your housing history. So I get this little like inkling of worry at this point, like, this is all done, I already paid the down payment, everything's good, they gave me the keys to the car, and I'm gonna have to bring this thing back. But then I thought to myself, the powers that be in this universe know that I'm aligned, vibrationally aligned, with the idea of having a nice new car that can give me the security that I want from having a vehicle. I've had enough experiences with vehicles in my life, ask anyone who knows me, that basically everyone had thought I had like a curse when it came to cars. I've had one problem after another, but I don't want to even tell those stories. I'm not going to even go into that because it's not like that anymore for me. My life has shifted, things have changed, and I am now a vibrational match to the good things in life. I just am. And I just want to let this be a testament that getting yourself on board with whatever it is you want, for me, means that with a 522 credit score and very little down, the universe aligned itself and arranged for me to show up at that car dealership that day with that new guy who had just, pushed everything through without checking on my stuff first, and that salesman who fudged the numbers and it went through. That's how the universe works. That is what I'm so excited about. That is why I'm doing these videos, so that I could share this as it happens and just like revel in these little miracles, because it's amazing. I got a car, I got a nice car, nicest car I've ever had. Got a nice car, nicest car I've ever had. I'm gonna drive. You guys wanna come with me? Let's go for a drive. Ready? Oh, you can tell I'm not really driving because you can't see the background moving, huh? Thought I tricked you. Okay. That's it. That's all I have for now. I'm super happy. My vibration really matters. And so do yours. But again, I shouldn't be, I don't want to say things like, you do this and this happens, or I just want to speak from my experience, my perspective, things that are working for me. Because at this point, I'm just really watching my life unfold in miraculous ways. Oh, side note story. The reason I had the money for the down payment, check this out. So, I have always wanted to go back to college. Always. And that's one of the things, when I was 11 years old, I asked my mom and dad to stop getting me any presents, any gifts. All I wanted them to do was start, for Christmas and for birthdays, start putting money in a college savings account for me. I I don't know why it didn't ever happen that way, but I have had this, like, basically since I heard about college. I'm the first person in my family to go to college. It's just been like this dream. I've always wanted to do it. If I'm on my deathbed and I have to think back on regrets, and I don't have my degree and I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to feel like I did not succeed in life. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but I'm going to be disappointed in myself. So somebody once told me to think with the end, or to move forward with the end in mind. And if you were, we did this exercise, like if you were to be laying in your coffin at your own funeral, it sounds kind of morbid now that I'm recalling this, but at the time it was super helpful. They said, if you were dead and you were laying in your coffin at your funeral, and all of the people around you that came to, you know, to show their respects to you, what would they say about you? What would those people say about you at your funeral? And that got me thinking about the college thing, and then really how I wanted to be as a person. At the time I did that exercise, the life that I was living was not one in which I feel people would have been saying good things about me, really. I mean, there wasn't really much bad to say, a little bit, but nothing terrible, nothing really bad to say about me. I just hadn't done anything to make a mark or to help anyone or to leave a mark on this world. And I know now that all that stuff that I went through during, like, they call it a dark night of the soul. I've heard other people say that. And that's definitely what I was going through for many years. All of that has been like, I had to go through all that. And I appreciate it. And it's all, like I said in my last video, all the contrast, I wouldn't change it for anything. Because it has made me the most resilient, but not just that. Even more so, the most grateful and appreciative version of myself that I could ever be. And I'm just loving life right now. I'm in love with life. Thank you guys for watching. Happy manifesting, everybody. And to anyone out there who's on the same path I am, trying to do the same things that I'm doing in my life. And I want to mention, too, one more thing that I want to say, because I don't know if I've really clarified this yet. Things are great. Money is great. But the reason that I want money is because it equals freedom. Oh, I did say that in one of my videos. Money is freedom to me, because I have this car that's a new, nice, a 2020. I can't believe it. A 2020. It's going to last a long time. But because of this car, I have freedom to go basically anywhere I want now. I don't have to worry about my car breaking down. It gets really good gas mileage. It says at its best 34.5, on average 30.8 miles per gallon. That's pretty good. So all around, it's a win-win, and money is just a tool. Money is energy that is going to help me to have enriching experiences and also to help other people in my life. And that is why it might seem like money is like this big focus for me, and it kind of is, because of those things. Imagining things is one of the most fun, creative processes that is super effective. And I learned a new trick. I used to always imagine myself, I'd see it on like the screen in my mind, like I'm watching a movie, but I'd always see myself from a third person point of view, viewing myself. And I just shifted my technique for visualization starting right before I got this vehicle. And it was where I would actually see myself doing the thing that I want to do from my perspective of my eyeballs in that situation. You know what I mean? Instead of seeing myself like from over here, looking at myself driving, I would actually feel what it felt like to drive and look, like, see what it was like passing, like looking out the window, things passing me, feeling what it felt like to put my hand out the window and windsurf, which I've done exactly that. It was like this exact vision that I had, this exact visualization in my mind is what happened a couple days, 2 days after I got this car. So I've had it for about 2 weeks now. I'm so sorry I haven't done a video in a long time. I'm in school full-time now. I'm a full-time student again. That's where I was going with that college conversation. Oh my gosh, I got so off track. Okay, so that college thing I was talking about, that's where I got the money. So I signed up for school full-time several months ago. And the way it worked out was I got a Pell Grant. And the Pell Grant paid for my school. I had no idea that I was going to get all this money extra until after I was already about to get the money. It was enough to pay for the down payment almost exactly on this car. It just all worked out so perfectly. And it happened to come, that money came the day before I got my license back, which, weird thing about that too, not weird, this is like pretty usual now in my life. I'm realizing this pattern of like amazing things happening. There was this class I was supposed to take, 2 8-hour classes on a weekend. And I had done one class, but then I ended up working the next day and I couldn't do the other class. So I had to reschedule it. I called and they're like, sorry, the next one's not for 4 months. And I was like, boo, I want my license back. But then I got this weird, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks later, I just got this feeling to call. Like, just call back and check, call back and check. My logical mind's telling me, you already checked. They said it's not, you know, you're already scheduled for 4 months out. Just wait it out. But my illogical mind, or now what I'm referring to as like my higher being self, was prompting me to call. So I call, and literally this lady on the phone says to me, oh, you're in luck. Someone just called to cancel a few minutes ago. Huh, what great timing you have. And she put me in for that very weekend. And then the money for the tuition, so I was able to get my license back, and then the money for the tuition for the Pell Grant went through. Anything I didn't spend on school came to me to use for living expenses, and I don't even have to pay it back. Things are so good. Things are so good. And I'm back in school, and it makes me feel really good about myself, and I'm working towards my degree in business. Life is beautiful. All right, hopefully I have a big announcement like this again to make soon. I don't know if I'm able to top this one. We'll see. Thank you for watching.